views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hey everyone, welcome to Open BxRx Remote, brought to you from my living workspace, Cherry Executive Suite. I'm Rhina Valentin, your host of Café con Leche every Friday. Here's what's coming up in today's show. Leading things off, we'll learn about Montefiore's latest grant that will help tackle the HIV disparities in the Bronx with real-time communications between patients and providers. After that, we'll hear about a book celebrating the Point CDC entitled The Point 25 Years, the story of where community and creativity connect. Then we'll share some more details about the annual Capital One City Parks Summer Stage events featuring live performances throughout New York City. And later on in the show, Bobby C brings us an up-to-date with the latest headlines in the world of sports. And lastly, this week's Open Artist Spotlight shines on singer and songwriter Shenna, and we'll chat about her upcoming album, Leave Me on Red, followed by a performance of her new single, They Call It Lazy. So sit back y prepárate. All this and more is headed your way, because now we are officially open. Welcome to Open. I'm Rhina Valentin, your host of Café con Leche every Friday, encouraging you to get social with us online. That is, tweet us and follow us on Instagram at BronxNet TV and like us on Facebook at Open BronxNet Television. And of course, you can follow me on Twitter, FB, Instagram, Insta Stories, and LinkedIn at Rhina Valentin. So, although new HIV infections and AIDS cases continue to decline across the United States, the Bronx is still home to 25,000 people living with HIV. And to tackle this issue, Montefiore Health System and Albert Einstein College of Medicine have been awarded a 3-year, $975,000 grant that will enable real-time communications between patients and providers through a secure text messaging and video platform. Joining us to tell us more, we welcome Medical Director at Montefiore AIDS Center, Dr. Barry S. Zingman. Hello, Doctor. Welcome.
Hi there. Hi. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you for being here with us, and congratulations on this wonderful grant that I am sure is going to assist many of individuals in the Bronx. Can we open up with just sharing with everyone, our viewers, how the Oval Center at Montefiore is serving adolescents and adult patients?
Sure. Thanks for asking. Let me just give an introduction. The Montefiore AIDS Center is the largest HIV treatment program in New York State. We care for about 3,300 people living with HIV at 2 different clinics in the Bronx. At our second clinic is the Oval Center at Montefiore. It was created about 8 years ago as a way to better attract people newly infected with HIV as the epidemic has changed over time. So the HIV epidemic in the Bronx, when it first started, was primarily from heterosexual sex and from injection drug use. Particularly over the last 10 to 15 years, the epidemic here has changed. Right now, close to 80% of people newly infected with HIV, newly diagnosed with HIV, are LGBTQ. So sexual risk among LGBTQ individuals has become the primary risk factor. And so we created a second clinic at Montefiore in the Bronx to be able to better meet the needs of these folks. And so the Oval Center at Montefiore is that location. The Oval Center is based around sexual health care and LGBTQ care specifically. So the Oval Center is a really warm and welcoming and affirming environment for young people who are sexually active, young people who are LGBTQ positive, and it's affirming, like I mentioned, we have staff who are members of the community or strong allies of the community. It's open on a easy schedule, and it is non-judgmental. And there we offer services around sexually transmitted infections, HIV prevention care for people who need things like Truvada for PrEP. We also offer HIV care to young LGBTQ individuals, anywhere from ages 15 and up. And so we have a large population of young people who are getting services at the site. And in the last 3 years, we started offering HIV care to these same individuals. So that's kind of the setting. We offer contraceptive care, gynecologic care, trans-affirming hormonal care at the site. So it's really a very welcoming place.
It sounds welcoming. I think you covered everything. And you know, I think even myself, I'm curious to know, like, is HIV/AIDS curable at this point?
So thanks for that. And there is some confusion over that. So HIV is an infection that stays in the body for the rest of your life. So, and there are other infections like that once you get them, they're with you the rest of your life. So HIV is one of those. There is no cure for HIV. However, the treatments that have been developed over the last 30 years now can completely control HIV. So they can control HIV to the extent that if there's been damage done, most of the damage gets reversed. We can now promise people a normal lifespan living with HIV if they get diagnosed early and start on treatment and stay on treatment. They can have a normal lifespan. And that is a dramatic change from even 15 years ago. So the prognosis is fantastic, but people need to get diagnosed, get in care, and stay in care. And that is a challenge, particularly for young LGBTQ individuals, particularly for people of color who are younger. These are very challenging. It is very challenging to get in care and stay in care. And so that's why we have this grant to try to support people.
Right, and which now leads us back to this welcoming environment that it basically introduced us to, and how now technology is going to also play a part in enrolling these individuals to really just make it their business to check their status, right? And so let's talk about that component, the technology component, because we haven't even talked about Evolution, which is the program, right?
That's right. So let me just clarify that yes, the grant program is called Evolution. It is based on a model that was created in St. Louis that has been shown to help young LGBTQ individuals of color living with HIV to control their HIV much better, to stay in care better, and to do much better. So we are the first site in New York City that is trying to replicate this and offer it to our patients. It's sponsored by the New York City Department of Health, and in some ways we're a test site for it in New York City. Can we make it work in New York City? Can we make it work with our population in the Bronx that really needs it? And it has two components. One is a text messaging and service, secure text messaging between the patient and our support staff, so that there is secure ability to tell us your concerns and for us to help support you if you have questions or having barriers or having problems filling your medicines, or just don't know when your appointment is, or are having a bad day, or feeling depressed, having job issues. So we can actually support you directly through text messaging, which is a preferred method of communication, of course. In addition, the secure app that we're going to be able to have people use can push out information to people. So it can push out reminders and pep talks and tips to help them, to help support them on a daily basis. The second component, besides for the electronic one, is that it enables us to hire another social worker to be able to provide individual and group counseling and psychosocial support to young LGBTQ individuals of color living with HIV. So we are going to be able to give them not only electronic support, but also direct support from a trained social worker who's attuned to LGBTQ issues. So it's both components that are actually really key and the counseling and the group support has been shown to be able to really help LGBTQ individuals to acquire some of the new coping skills that they may need to have or get to be able to live successfully with HIV.
Got it. And so before we go, is this a free service or is this an app that people upload? Is there a registration required? How does that work?
Yeah, thanks. So it would be offered to people engaging in care at the Oval Center for their HIV care. So it helps to support the HIV medical care that you're getting from our doctors and nurse practitioners at the site. It's completely voluntary, and we would be offering it to everybody between the ages of 15 and 29 who's HIV positive and getting care with us. Completely voluntary. You actually sign a consent form saying that you recognize that text messages may call on your phone. We give you the app. We give you any training necessary. We introduce you to the staff, and it remains voluntary throughout. At any point, a person can choose and can say, I'm good, I'm doing fine, I don't need this anymore, or they can continue for up to the full 3 years. So we are offering it to at least 75 people over the 3 years, and we are really hoping that it's successful and that people really like it. And also we're not just pushing out a new program, we'll also be getting feedback from our patients in the program on how to help make it work better for them as well. So that's also one of the interests of the Department of Health, is to see how we can make this work well, and then it can be spread to other clinics around the city.
Wonderful. I love the mindfulness being considered in the process, right? It's
right.
Really community-based, even though,
Right.
Of course, there's the actual physical, the physician component and the diagnosis as well as the care. So
let me just add, it's also available in English and Spanish.
Nice.
So all the messaging, the educational content, English and Spanish.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you for bringing it here to our viewers. Dr. Barry Zingman, Medical Director at AIDS Center at Montefiore Health Center and Health Systems, And for you guys, if you're interested in more information on evolution, you can call the Oval Center at 718-882-5482. Welcome back. So the Point CDC, the nonprofit organization, has been serving the Bronx community for many years through its various programming. And the organization has changed many, many, many lives, mine included, and has sparked educational and economic opportunities for people in the South Bronx. And now, to commemorate the organization, our next guest took part in creating a book celebrating 25 years of hard work. And joining us to share more about the book, please welcome head writer, poet Mariposa Fernandez, the Point Executive Managing Director, Danny R. Peralta, and Director of Sustainability, Sharon de la Cruz. Hello and welcome.
Hello.
Danny, unmute yourself because we can't hear you.
Hello.
Pero welcome, and bravo. Thank you for the coffee, Mariposa.
You're welcome.
Oh my gosh. So, all right. So I did a formal introduction, pero Danny, let's open up with you and your role that you've been serving now for the past, how many years you've been the executive managing director?
I've been hanging out here for like 13 years officially.
Right. Well, you've been hanging out officially for 13 years, but really my point was really to open up with the fact that you've been there all these years,
Sure.
and then how it's been passed forward and how you've taken on, how the torch was passed to you. So let's talk about you, your role, and just all the logistics and where the point is right now.
Sure. Thank you for having us. Yeah, thank you so much for having us today, Rhina. So it's a pleasure being on your show. As we said, the Point's been around now for 27 years, actually. And our work has been really at the forefront of helping to revitalize the community of Hunts Point economically and culturally, and really preserving all the beautiful assets that we have here and solving problems, So this book is really a representation of a culmination of working with people like Mariposa and people like Sharon and people like yourself who have come through these doors and have built with their bare hands, with their ideas, with their energy, a space, for a destination for other creative people looking to solve problems and think about climate change and think about social justice and think about how their art and their passions could meet in a space again and propel a neighborhood to the future. And so the book is about that. It's about capturing those stories. It's about creating a space for us to acknowledge the beautiful things that we've done and celebrate that and really kind of take a look into the future of our neighborhood.
I got to tell you, just going through the book, I was so emotional because, I witnessed some of this evolution, and to see how much the Point has evolved, not just the Point, the Hunts Point section. I know a lot of it is due to the Point and the services that have been offered. So Mariposa, as the head writer, I mean, this is quite the task you took on. And it's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. It was a powerful process of collaboration, and Danny actually, I have to thank Danny for trusting me and for choosing me to be the one to tell the story or to curate the story, because it's really a mosaic of memories and experiences and projects and all that the Point has done. And I think it was in January of 2020, we did not foresee that a pandemic was about to happen, that we were about to go in lockdown. And I was invited into a meeting with Danny, Quazad, and Eric Orr, who is a legendary artist who created the graphics and used his famous robot character that's throughout the book, pointing to the to the QR codes, because it's the concept of, and Danny could talk more about the concept of the digital virtual aspect of it, which is so cool. When they first explained it to me, I didn't really get it, and now that I have it in my hands, it's just such an amazing experience because, for example, with the QR code, most of us are reading with our phones in our hand anyway.
Right.
You could actually virtually be at the Point, in the courtyard and just experience it. I mean, it's blowing my mind. It is blowing my mind. So that we owe that to Danny and to Arash and to Eric. I just want to shout out Rochelle Fernandez and Carrie Clark, Paul Lipson, Michael Glazebrook, everyone at the Point who contributed, Charles Rice Gonzalez for writing his Point memories.
And then, and so those are some of the chapters that she just talked about. And I want to talk a little bit about the social justice and the climate justice aspect of it, which is, I guess, an area that maybe you can speak on, Sharon, right? Because this is your expertise. And the fact is that this has been going on for all these years, and it's still going on, and there are still unresolved issues that are continuously being addressed. So I understand that you wrote something related to 2020 in the book. So it's amazing that you were able to get it up to 2020, even though it says it's until 2019.
Yeah. Well, now you can tell how long it takes for a book to come out, right?
Right.
when you write it and the editing process.
right.
But I guess what we were
Right.
thinking, yeah, I guess what we were thinking about in the last chapter is how we move forward intergenerationally, how we move forward across the city, right? Like we are not the only environmental justice neighborhood, but we are leaders in environmental justice in New York City. And so how do we across the city come together to be louder and prouder and just more boisterous about the concerns, right? And about environmental justice, period, right? Like you see climate change happening, there's no denying it, but what does it mean that it hits harder in particular neighborhoods in New York City? So that last chapter is kind of thinking through the lessons that we learned, right, on environmental justice, how we work intergenerationally, how we work across the city, and how we work basically in coalition. A lot of what I love about the book is we mention everybody we worked with, right? This is not a one-person gig, just like literally creating this book was not a one-person gig. Like this is a collaboration amongst folks, and having shared principles and visions is really important for this work to move forward.
And so, because I mean, we can go on and on talking about all of the different issues that the Point has tackled, and as well as the artists. I mean, we could talk about the Fish Parade, which is a beautiful celebration that's been going on for a couple of years now, that evolved into a Fish Parade because it wasn't originally a Fish Parade, right? It was a resistance against the dumping of Hunts Point. And then of course there's the breathing, right? The air quality in Hunts Point. And then there's the fact that all of you are artists, and myself included. And right. So I'm a little passionate, rather I'm coming across very passionate because, you know, I've seen what it's done, and the fact that you're still going and I've watched it just be passed over to the next generation. We forgot to mention Alejandra Delfin, who's been there for so many years as a graphic designer and as a teaching artist, and just the role that it's played on so many kids in that neighborhood that have gone on to do amazing things, like the photographer who went and shot, she was the videographer who shot Becoming Michelle, the documentary. That was the, what was that service called? The IPF, was it? Mariposa? ICP.
Nadia Halgren, that's our folks. Yeah, those are the artists that find a home here. And a lot of our, you know, young people, for myself included, you know, the world tells us that we can't necessarily do certain things, and we don't see artists. And growing up in our communities, we probably didn't think that we were looking at artists. And, you know, once we figured out who we were and who we could be, and we knew that we could, you know, we had a community around each other that we can support each other with, you know, that's the sky's the limit. And so Nadia, Alejandra, you know, Mariposa, all of us here, like you said, we're inspired by the space.
Angel Rodriguez, Caridad de la Luz, Lemon, Flaco,
Navaja, of course,
Ruiz, Steven
yes.
Saab.
And the list keeps going. Yeah. I mean, you see something, for example, like Open Hydrant, our theater company now. These young people are out on Channel 7, they're on Channel 5. I mean, they're in the movies. Like, we keep pushing that and propelling that narrative. And I don't know how people see our neighborhood, but we see our neighborhood, again, in a different kind of light. And people can learn that. And I think that that's something that maybe doesn't apply to everybody's neighborhood, but you can sit down, read this book, and develop an imagination for community resistance and empowerment. And that's really important. That's why we made this book, you know?
Not only that, you can experience it, which I really dig, because it's like, of the times, like it's not just reading a book, it's done in almost like a magazine style, and you can experience it virtually, and unfortunately we're running out of time, but I want to
give one more shout out to Maria Torres, to the co-founders, to the founders of the Point. I did mention Paul Lipson, and you mentioned Steve Sapp and Mildred Ruiz, but Maria Torres wrote the dedication and provided a lot of insight and assistance and archival information. And thank you for having us. And we plan on having a series of readings to promote, to celebrate the book, and to talk more about it, and hopefully more books to really hone in and focus on different aspects of the work and of the history.
And the importance, sorry, I just wanted to add, and the importance that we're writing our history, right? Like we're jotting that down, we're archiving it for ourselves. No one is doing that for us. And that's the beauty of this book. That's why this book is like really rad.
It is rad. And there's a limited amount, people. So you have to get it now, right? Because I think there's only like 200 copies printed.
Yeah, right now at least. Yeah, the
Right
limited
now, for
edition
right now.
Yeah,
300
right
at
now.
least.
yeah, yeah.
Least. But
This is
the
also a
idea-
template for other frontline communities, for people like 2 young people from Vieques came and toured the Point and said, we want to create something like this right here. So this is like it could be thought of as a blueprint for other communities.
Right, but the idea is exactly what Sharon said. It's our history written by us. So congratulations to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And you guys, if you're interested in the book of The Point, 25 Years, the story of where community and creativity connect, be sure to visit thepoint.org. All right, we got to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll hear all about an annual music festival taking place in person right here in New York. Don't go anywhere. Hey everyone, and welcome back. So New York City has finally reopened, and Capital One City Parks Foundation is holding its annual free outdoor music festival, Summer Stage. Woo, with this year's theme being Rebirth and Resilience. The events showcase renowned artists along with rising stars with important ties to New York City. And joining us to tell us more, we welcome Capital One City Parks Foundation Summer Stage Executive Artistic Director, Erika Elliot. Hello, Erika.
Thank you. So happy to be back.
Oh, well, hopefully the next time we have you back, we will be back in studio.
Yes, yes, yes.
I know you must be excited that you are back in person, because I can't imagine what you went through last year, converting everything to a virtual execution, when really the whole basis of this is for people to come together and be together outdoors, enjoying all this magical music in all genres. So I can't imagine how you feel this year.
Well, yeah, to exactly to your point, I mean, it was an incredible year of pivoting and reimagining ourselves and really thinking deeply about our mission as an organization, which, as you said, is really to be in person, to be serving communities in community. So it was definitely a reimagining and a rethinking. We were really grateful to have been able to still give platform to artists, to be able to highlight the distinct and amazing communities of New York City through digital content, but we live to be live. You know, that's why we exist. And so we're so excited to be at a point where we've had a couple of shows already, but yes, we are back in business. Live in-person shows are happening, and really, really happy to be back doing what we love.
All right, so just to give everyone a heads up, right, Summer Stage started in June, and here we are in July, but you have all the way until September to attend many and plenty of events with all different types of performances, as well as in different parks. So we're gonna try and get through as many as we possibly can, and if we don't, you can just go visit their website. I'll be sure to share that with you later, but I do wanna get into a little bit of the background of Summer Stage, because Erika has served as the Executive Artistic Director for quite some time now, and I don't think that we've ever shared with our audience that this is a women-run festival, and I think it's important that we basically give them a little insight as to how this even happens. I mean, everybody goes, and yes, we're happy to be there and indulge in the music and be together, but you know, there's a lot of work that goes into this. So let's talk about those logistics a little bit.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, we are women-led, I would say. Of course, we have a diverse community of people that are on our staff, and there are certainly men employed, but we do have an executive director who's a woman and a co-director that works with me who is leading all things Summer Stage. So that's sort of rare in the entertainment landscape, although not entirely unique, but I think it does frame our priorities and also sets an amazing example for other women that we are holding space and being visible in those roles can give younger women the opportunity to see that it's possible. And it does also frame decisions like our commitment to gender equity, which we signed on to, which is a global initiative called Key Change, that was a global initiative started in Europe, really aimed at making sure that festivals are more representative and have a minimum of 30% of women in the lineups. So we have been a pioneer in sort of championing that in the US and North America. And not to say that men might not have made those choices, but certainly us knowing that it's important to put women in the front has framed our work.
Right, and of course pay them the same as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about equity and also giving platform and just making visible women and showing that there's women in a variety of roles from behind the scenes in terms of the work that we're doing. And of course, we have a head of marketing and many other really important roles that are women, but also, again, giving women the opportunity to be in the front too on the stage is key.
So I'm scrolling through the calendar, and we're not going to be able to discuss every single performance. But however, let's talk about this upcoming weekend, July 24th and 25th. And also, let's just share with everyone how a lot of it is being handled in different parks. I mean, SummerStage is primarily identified as a Central Park presentation. However, I know Coney Island plays a role, and I don't know if you're going out to the Bronx. Oh, you also have Marcus Garvey this year. Are you doing the Bronx at all this year?
We are doing a much more scaled down, version of SummerStage this year, just because of planning and COVID and restrictions and viability. So sadly, I'm a Bronxite. We will not be in the Bronx, but we are trying to expand as much as possible beyond Central Park. So we do have the shows in Brooklyn. We did one show in Queens, and closest to the Bronx is the shows that happen at Marcus Garvey this year. We did an amazing beginning of the season with a screening of Summer of Soul at Marcus Garvey, and we'll have the Charlie Parker Jazz Festival 3 days at the end of August.
All right, back to the I guess this new version of SummerStage, because I mean, before people would just wait online and they would go in, but I'm understanding that there's tickets that need to either be registered and or purchased, because some of them are benefit tickets, right? So
actually, I want to be really clear, and it's an important part of why I wanted to make sure that my fellow Bronxites knew what was going on, is that we initially, based on CDC and state guidelines, needed to ticket and reduce capacity and do a lot of things to sort of manage crowds. But as of all the lifting, right now we are SummerStage as we have always been. No tickets, no RSVP, come as you are, first come, first serve. So although early messaging was that you needed to get tickets, as soon as the city lifted those restrictions and guidelines and made it so that we could just be open, we are now open. So this weekend and moving forward, unless something changes, just come, everyone's welcome and no tickets needed.
Oh, awesome. That's great, because it's listed a different way. So that's really wonderful news. Yeah. So people can just show up, all right? Yep. And guess what you're going to be showing up to? Erika's going to share with us.
Yeah, we're really excited. We had a couple shows in June, but really we see this weekend as our opening weekend. And that is because we have Sun Ra Orchestra, who was the first band to ever play the festival, playing on Saturday. So we really thought it was an important moment to celebrate our sort of coming back to life, our return to live music, with the first band that ever played, the iconic Sun Ra Orchestra, on Saturday. And they've got a great support band and Sisters of the Nitty Gritty out of Chicago, an all-female jazz ensemble that are amazing. And we really couldn't have a season that didn't represent the really dynamic and vibrant dance community that our dance curator, Danny G, always is championing. And so the Sunday is Dance Is, and it is a multi-artist, multi-company music and dance celebration of all things dance, including some film. So anyone who's a fan of the genre or curious about the genre should come Sunday, including our personal favorites,
Souls of Duende.
Right, I know, sorry, I caught my tongue.
It's all good, I got you.
Yeah.
We love them. And so just for clarity purposes, SummerStage is primarily happening in the evening, right? It starts at 5. It goes to about, 7?
Yeah, typically shows are doors at 5, so get there early. We've got some great things. Rooftop Films is actually coordinating and curated a whole series of short films. So while you're waiting for the show to start, you can see some great short films. And then programs start sharply at 7. So don't be late, come early. And then again, in terms of venues, lots of stuff in Central Park, but don't forget a great host of events at Coney Island's Bandshell, also free, also no tickets. And then don't ever miss Charlie Parker Jazz Festival because it's such a gem at the end of the summer.
Awesome. And I wish we could have shared more, but basically you're going to just have to go visit the website because there's lots going on. Erika, yes. Thanks for sharing at least this weekend with us. And yes. You guys make sure you get out there and enjoy the outdoors while we still got it. And once again, this is the Capital One Cities Parks Foundation Summer Stage, and that's currently taking place until September. So you have plenty of time to get out and enjoy. And if you're interested in more information, you can visit cityparksfoundation.org/summer stage. All right, Bobby C's up next. Don't go anywhere.
We built a media network for you.
BronxNet TV.
Come learn in your new state-of-the-art studios at Lehman College.
At Mercy College.
And coming soon to the South Bronx in the Hub.
Inspire with your stories, culture, history.
Your Bronx on BronxNet.
Engage with us.
Connect with us at your channels and at BronxNet.tv.
Learn, engage, inspire. BronxNet TV.
From the Bronx
to the world.
BronxNet.
The New York Mets headline first here on 5 on 5 after the American League won the All-Star game in Colorado, 8 straight might I add. The second half of the baseball season opened and the first place Amazons got back to business in Pittsburgh. The Mets struggled out of the second half gate mightily until last Sunday when Michael Conforto lifted the club with a ninth inning dinger that helped the team salvage one of the 3 games on the weekend. We go inside the locker room for more.
A tough loss last night. Going down 6-0 in the first. It's huge. It's huge to salvage a win, especially going down like we did in the first inning. I mean, what a team win. The bullpen throwing up zeros the rest of the game, and the bats continuing to put together great at-bats. We've been doing it game after game after game. Even if we don't win the game, it's just the kind of team that we have. We're going to keep doing it over and over. I just happen to be the guy to have the big swing today, and you never know who it's going to be, each and every day. So it's a big one for me, big one for the team. Now we get a happy flight to go into Cincinnati and keep this thing rolling.
In at number 4, the Yankees showed some signs of life in the Bronx, finally taking a series from the Red Sox to open things up in the start of the second half of their season. One of the newest Yankees even chipped in. Here's Greg Allen on his trade to the Bronx Bombers, and a big day from a player that we haven't spoken much about lately, Rougned Odor. Odor delivered big time last Sunday in a series-clinching win for the Yanks.
I mean, it's very exciting. Any chance you have to be able to compete at the big league level, you definitely don't take it for granted. Obviously the situation that it's been brought up with isn't ideal. You definitely don't wish it on anyone. But again, being able to control things that we can control here now, and just gonna try and do all I can to help the team win. It's a talented group that we have here across the board, and guys with a variety of skill sets. So just looking at my own personal skill set, anything I can do to get on base, increase traffic, play some good defense, just find ways to, again, score runs. And I think that's the name of the game. Any way I can to impact the game, that's where my focus is. And that's what I'm going to try and do.
I'm just trying to be myself. I like to win games. I don't like to lose. And I think if I bring that energy to our team, is going to help us to play harder, to be more focused in the game, and I'm just trying to help my team, try to keep everybody up. And, this is a sport, it's a long season, and we got a lot of up and downs. So I just try to be the same guy all the time in the clubhouse and when I play too. So I like to be like that.
Speaking of ups and downs and rivalries too, At number 3, the U.S. Women's Olympic basketball team was in unfamiliar territory after dropping 2 exhibition games in a row for the first time in a decade. The Americans rebounded with a strong effort to beat Nigeria 93-62 last Sunday in the final pre-Olympic exhibition tune-up for both teams. These two teams will now open against each other in the Olympics on July 27th. From the opening of one major event to the closing of another this summer, Chase Elliott won the Superstar Racing Experience season finale at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway last Saturday night, ahead of Tony Stewart, his father Bill Elliott, and an all-star field that included Indy 500 champion Elio Castro Neves. We mentioned it last week on the show. Chase had already beaten his dad once before. Now he's 2 for 2. That was a really fun series to watch and to be part of. Congrats to SRX on a super first season. We look forward to next year. We'll stick with Super Showdowns and Racing Superstars to close out the front end of 5-on-5. And at number 1, Lewis Hamilton celebrates a record 8th British Grand Prix victory last Sunday after fighting back from a 10-second penalty for a first-lap collision that halted the race and sent title rival Max Verstappen of Red Bull to the hospital. The Mercedes driver, now only 8 points behind Verstappen after 10 races, passed Ferrari's Charles Leclerc with 2 laps to go as a capacity 140,000 crowd rose to their feet to cheer on their hometown hero. The win is the 99th of the 7-time world champion Hamilton's Formula One career and one of the more controversial in his long list of achievements in the sport. In at number 1 on the back end of 5-on-5, we look at the weekend ahead and start with the Yankees and Red Sox in Boston. The longtime rivals played at Yankee Stadium last weekend and will resume their rivalry this weekend at Fenway Park. The series opened yesterday in Boston, followed by 3 games Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. In the 2 spot, the Mets were off yesterday and return home to Citi Field this weekend following the series in Cincinnati. The Amazons will welcome the Toronto Blue Jays to Queens for a 3-game weekend set, which starts up a long homestand in Flushing. At number 3, New York City FC will host Orlando City at Yankee Stadium on Sunday night at 6 p.m. NYCFC is in the middle of the pack in the standings, but looking to make moves. Looking to make moves here on the show, too, in at number 4. In celebration of something prior to COVID that we look most forward to every 4 years, the Olympic Games take center stage this weekend in Tokyo following the opening ceremony. They run from July 23rd to August 8th. Visit Olympics.com for more info on all of your favorite games. Also, stay tuned for my take on the games and the upcoming C-list. And since the Olympics are on our mind, how about an Olympic athlete from the Winter Games that is part of history? And at number 5, we'll feature John Harrington of the Miracle on Ice, the 1980 gold medal winning ice hockey team, this Monday morning on Open.
I know I can't believe that I'm 41. Can you believe that it's been 41 years since that very special moment?
Well, it's crazy, to think that and when it happened and but the great thing is, I'll just say is that we've had, so many people still be interested in it, get more interested. The movie Miracle came out and a whole new generation got interested in what happened in 1980. I mean, here I am, I'm coaching women's hockey at Minnesota State University, and I'm recruiting them players that their teams watch Miracle and they're going to games. That's their pump up movie, to watch and night before games. And it's amazing to think that it happened 40 some years ago. I tell people that when I look at them, I said, yeah, but remember I was only 5 when I played on that team. So I'm not that old. So it's amazing how fast time has gone by.
Don't miss the first part of a 2-part chat with the legend and how that memorable Miracle on Ice team is reuniting to carve that incredible memory into something other than our minds. To the C-list we go. Following a year-long delay, a Summer Games unlike any other are at hand. The Olympics, only so very different. No foreign fans, no local attendance in Tokyo area venues. Tokyo navigating a surge of virus cases amid a still limited vaccination campaign. Athletes and their entourages confined to track visitors' every move. Alcohol curtailed or banned. Cultural exchanges completely absent. All signs point to an utterly surreal set of games, one that likely will divide Japan during the Olympics and Paralympics. Lockdown stadiums, vaccinated super athletes, legions of reporters. Meanwhile, volunteers and officials will try and make the games go. They will do their best to concentrate on sports served up to billions remotely. Since the pandemic canceled the original in 2020, we've wondered what these games might look like. We've even asked the very question, can they be played? U.S. tennis player Coco Gauff tested positive for COVID-19 before her departure to the Olympics. Other athletes have tested positive at the airport after arriving in Japan or once inside the bubble that is the athletes' village. Seems pretty clear to me these games will have far less of what the world has come to expect from the Olympics, with its attractive mixture of human competition at the highest level amid celebrations and cultural exchanges on the sidelines by fans, athletes, and locals too. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it won't be worth it, or even worth giving it a try, or that the games won't even be good, even if they are different. Just expect things to be a little different. You can also chime convo-wise by letting me know your thoughts at The Voice Bobby C on social media. That's your look at sports. I'm Bobby C.
So our last guest is a singer and songwriter who made her first television debut right here on Open. Well, not here virtually, but you know what I mean. Back in 2014. And since she signed with a sync licensing company and has been featured on hit shows such as Bad Girls Club, Netflix Selling Sunset, and Miss Stevens, and Teen Mom OG, to name a few. She's also been featured on publications such as The Washington Post, Nylon Magazine, Broadway World. She's performed on notable stages around the world and is a voting member of the Recording Academy and a member of the Forbes Culture Community. Here now to discuss her latest album, Leave Me on Red, as well as her latest single, They Call It Lazy. Please welcome Shenna.
Hi, thanks for having me.
That was your grandiosa introduction.
I loved it. I felt, oh my God, I was getting shy.
You know what it is that I tend to carry this level of orgullo, which is pride in knowing that we were your debut, meaning Open Friday, and now you've come back to share all these amazing accomplishments with our viewers. It's awesome. I mean, I was going through the list going, wowza, 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 wowza.
Thank you. No, I'm so happy to be back. When I found out I was going to be on BronxNet again, I was like, yay. And then interviewed by you, I was like, this is insane. This is like full circle all over again. So I'm happy.
It's beautiful. And thank you. Thank you for making that happen, because, I mean, you know, granted, you've been traveling all over the world and being over there at the Grammys and doing all this fabulous stuff, fashion shows. But yeah, you know, at the end of the day, you're an artist and you're creating, and the beauty of it is that you found a beautiful, very clever niche from a business perspective on how to make sure that your music is out there, and of course you're producing, not just music and artistry, but financially too, right?
Right, very important, exactly. Just trying.
Yeah. So, all right, so you know, the last time we had you on, I mean, I don't need to go back that far. The EP that you performed, I think, was Dream in Color.
Yes.
And then I know now your debut album was Made of Gold.
Yes, exactly.
And so now we have this new album that, well, you were calling it a project earlier, and it's Red, right? What is it?
Yeah, it's called Leave Me on Red.
Leave Me on Red.
But like the color red, exactly.
Okay, so it's Leave Me on the Color Red. So really what I'm alluding to is the fact that all of your titles have color in them in some form or another.
Right.
So let's talk about that and what that means to you, what colors mean to you, and why they're so important when identifying your music.
Yeah, 100%. So I define with colors with moods. So each project has a different type of theme and a different type of mood. So Made of Gold was my debut. Like, wow, I'm in New York City from Virginia. Like, I'm doing my thing. I'm living my dream. And then Blue Memories came along, where I talked about mental health awareness. I had different stages of overcoming depression. And I was speaking out to my fans, like, I also deal with this, and I released it during Mental Health Awareness Week. And then Leave Me on Red is all about this digital world that we're currently in. We're doing Zooms, we're doing it's a bizarre world. And I just sometimes feel angst. I don't know if you want to call it that. I feel eager to get back out there. So this is very edgy, this project. I feel like red is such a bold color. And yeah, that's what I wanted to convey with this project.
That's it. She's like, and I'm claiming red as that.
Yeah, it's my color. It's literally my color.
I love it. It's working. You look fabulous, darling. You look fabulous. And so, all right, so that's the name of the album, right? Leave Me on Red, or as you were referring to as a project. But right now, you've already released a single that is, they call me Lazy.
They call it Lazy. Yes, exactly.
And so, okay, let's talk a little bit about that title, right? Because at first I was like, oh, wait, they call me lazy. Like, what exactly are you implying in that type of title?
Yeah, so during quarantine and just in general in this pandemic and all of that, I felt very out of touch, because social media is such a huge game changer, and the people that are really cutting through are really good at it. And personally, I'm a person that, like you, I'm very personable. I like to talk and have these real face-to-face conversations. So I've been struggling during this time. I get super excited for interviews and just human communication, but social media isn't 100% my lane. Even though I do it, doesn't make me feel happy all the time. So at times I just feel better at turning off my phone and being by myself and just feeling a little bit lazy. That's what it's about. Totally out of connection with the digital world.
I can feel that. I appreciate that, right? That what you're referencing, because we are living in a world that is a little on the demanding side when it comes to being online. And the fact that you're referencing it as it being called lazy, I find that fascinating, right? Because it's almost like you're saying, you know what, I'm gonna be lazy because I don't want to be in the race.
That's how I feel, exactly. Yeah, you hit it on the nail.
Yeah, well, the tune sounds lovely too, and I'm so happy we're going to be able to share that with our viewers a little later. So you guys got to stay tuned, right? But before we go, I want to talk about where you are now with regards to overcoming the pandemic. We survived. Here we are, and as you said, you made do with what you had, despite the fact that you really don't care for being online, but it is part of the business, right? But you also honor your personal space of understanding that your artistry comes from detaching.
Yes, exactly.
Right. So where are you now in the project before we go?
Yes, so in the project, as far as the album, it's almost done. I'm creating in my safe space right now. My roommate and I set up, this is his studio actually in our home, which has been amazing to kind of just be able to create at any time of the day. Doesn't matter if it's 2 a.m. or 6 a.m. I don't wake up that early usually, but it doesn't matter what time of the day it is. I'm able to create, and I just feel happy in this space. This is my safe space, and thankfully things are opening up again. So I am booking some shows, COVID-friendly shows outside, and I'm just excited to get back into the game.
That's what's up. And we really appreciate you coming back to Open and sharing it with our viewers. And I'm going to leave you on red because we're going to take a break. And when we're going to take a quick break, but then when we get back, Shayna's going to perform her new single, They Call It Lazy, unplugged. So don't go anywhere. everyone. Welcome back here now to perform her new single. They call it Lazy, Unplugged. Please welcome Shenna.
Can feel my fingertips. Reflection sent me on a trip. Is it just illusions? I'm drawing up conclusions. Breath will be really weird, sitting in silence. Then on my cellular, feeling compliant. Bots in the comments like, you need to try it, you need to buy it, you need to like it. Get in the zone when I'm left all alone. All the worries can rest as they hum on their own. When it's quiet, when it's quiet. Hold up aside and let me lay right here. Tune out the noise, make it all disappear. Hold up aside and let me rest, my dear. Don't want affection, lost connection. Slipping out of my mind, I'm feeling hazy. They call it lazy. Blending into section. Slipping out of my mind, I vibe on a daily. They call it lazy. Blending into section. No need to hitch a ride. No riding wild alibis. Uber and backseats on autopilot. There is no pilot. Growing as tourists. Get in the zone when I'm left all alone. All the worries can rest as they hum on their own. When it's quiet, when it's quiet, quiet. Hold up aside and let me lay right here. Tune out the noise, make it all disappear. Hold up aside and let me rest, my dear. Don't want affection, lost connection. Slipping out of my mind, I'm feeling hazy. Think I'm lazy. Blending into section. Slipping out of my mind, I vibe on the daily. They call it lazy. Blending into section.
And you need to try it. That was delicious. And you guys, for more on Shenna's music, that can be found on all musical platforms. And for information, you can visit ShennaMusic.com. And you can also follow her on Instagram at Shenna Music. That is our show today, mi gente. Thanks to all our guests for coming through, to you, our viewers, for tuning in. If you missed any part of the show, you can check out the recap cast tonight and 24 hours a day at BronxNet.tv. I'm Rhina Valentin, and from all of us here at Open, may the universe provide us prosperity y amor.